The emergency call, doctor. Sarah Mitchell wiped the sweat from her brow as she finished stitching the last mining accident victim in Mars Colony Medical Station's trauma bay. The Red Planet's harsh environment and dangerous mining operations kept her surgical skills sharp, but nothing could have prepared her for what was about to arrive through her doors. The emergency klaxon screamed through the medical facility at precisely 0347 hours, jolting Sarah from her brief moment of rest. She had been the head trauma surgeon at Mars Medical for 3 years, ever since completing her xenobiology specialization on Earth. At 32, she was young for such a position, but her innovative techniques and calm demeanor under pressure had earned her the respect of both human colonists and the occasional alien visitors who passed through Martian space. Dr. Mitchell to Trauma Bay 1 immediately. The intercom crackled with urgency. We have an incoming diplomatic emergency. ETA 2 minutes. Sarah rushed through the corridors, her medical team falling into step behind her. The Mars Colony Medical Station was one of the few facilities in human space equipped to handle alien physiology, though such cases were rare. Most alien species maintained their own medical protocols and rarely sought human assistance. "What's the situation?" Sarah asked as she burst into the trauma bay, immediately beginning her pre-surgical preparations. Nurse Rodriguez, her most experienced assistant, looked grim. "Incoming patient is Ambassador Zethkar from the Lumina Empire. Their ship suffered critical systems failure during a diplomatic mission to Earth. The ambassador is dying, and their own medical technology can't help them out here." Sarah's hands paused momentarily as she processed this information. The Lumina Empire was one of humanity's most important allies, a crystalline species whose technology had revolutionized human energy systems. Ambassador Zethkar was personally responsible for establishing the trade agreements that made Mars Colony economically viable. "What's their physiology like?" Sarah asked, pulling up alien medical databases on her tablet. "Biocrystalline matrix," Rodriguez replied, reading from the incoming medical data. "Their life force flows through crystalline structures instead of organic tissue. The failure appears to be in their primary crystal core, equivalent to a human heart attack." The trauma bay doors burst open as the emergency team wheeled in the alien ambassador. Sarah's breath caught in her throat. She had seen Lumina before, but never this close, and never in such a vulnerable state. Zethkar stood nearly 8 feet, tall even lying down, their body composed of translucent blue-white crystals that normally pulsed with inner light. Now, however, those crystals were dim and flickering, cracks spreading across their surface like fractures in glass. "Ambassador, can you hear me?" Sarah asked, leaning over the examination table. Zethkar's primary sensory cluster. What passed? For their head turned toward her. When they spoke, their voice came through a translator device that converted their crystalline vibrations into audible speech. "Dr. Mitchell, yes, I am aware. My core matrix is failing. The damage from our ship's power surge has created cascading failures throughout my biocrystalline network." Sarah's medical scanners confirmed what she feared. The alien's life-sustaining crystal matrix was indeed failing, creating a cascade effect that would shut down all their biological functions within the hour. More troubling was the fact that none of her equipment could interface with crystalline biology. "I need to understand your physiology better," Sarah said, her mind racing through possibilities. "What sustains your crystal matrix? What keeps it stable?" "Resonant energy frequencies," Zethkar explained, their voice growing weaker. "My people's crystal matrices resonate with specific energy patterns. When the ship's power surge occurred, it disrupted my harmonic frequency. Without restabilization, the crystals will lose coherence and I will cease to exist." Sarah studied the alien's failing crystal structure, her medical training clashing with the complete unfamiliarity of crystalline biology. Traditional human medical techniques were useless here. She needed something that could provide stable energy patterns to restart the ambassador's failing systems. Then, an impossible idea struck her. The desperate solution. "Ambassador," Sarah said carefully, "your crystals need stable energy frequencies to maintain coherence. Human blood carries electrical impulses through hemoglobin and other proteins. What if human bioelectrical energy could provide temporary stabilization?" Zethkar's crystals flickered with what Sarah was learning to recognize as surprise. Dr. Mitchell, interspecies biological exchange has never been attempted. The risks are unknown and likely fatal to both participants. The risk of doing nothing is certain death, Sarah replied firmly. I'm willing to try if you are. The alien ambassador was quiet for a long moment, their crystal matrix continuing to dim. Finally, they spoke. Your species continues to surprise me with your willingness to take risks for others. Yes, Dr. Mitchell, I accept. Sarah immediately began preparations for the most unconventional medical procedure of her career. She had no protocols to follow, no textbooks to reference. She was operating purely on medical intuition and her understanding of both human and alien physiology. Nurse Rodriguez, prepare a modified blood transfusion setup, Sarah ordered. We'll need to create a bioelectrical bridge between my circulatory system and the ambassador's crystal matrix. Dr. Mitchell, Rodriguez protested. We don't know what this could do to you. Alien contamination protocols exist for a reason. Sometimes, Sarah said, inserting an IV into her own arm, protocols aren't enough. Sometimes you have to trust in human adaptability. Working quickly, Sarah created a modified transfusion system that would allow her blood to circulate through a network of crystal conductors attached to Zethkar's failing matrix. The theory was that the bioelectrical energy in human blood might provide the stable frequency patterns needed to restart the alien's crystalline systems. Are you certain about this, Dr. Mitchell? Zethkar asked as Sarah prepared the final connections. No, Sarah admitted with a slight smile. But uncertainty never stopped a human from trying to help someone in need. The miracle, the moment Sarah's blood made contact with Zethkar's crystal matrix, something extraordinary happened. Instead of rejection or biological incompatibility, the alien's crystals began to resonate with the bioelectrical patterns in human hemoglobin. The dim, flickering light within the ambassador's body suddenly blazed with renewed intensity. But the effect wasn't one-sided. Sarah felt a surge of energy unlike anything she had ever experienced. Her vision sharpened, her awareness expanded, and she could suddenly sense the quantum frequencies that governed the alien's crystal biology. Through their blood connection, she was experiencing Zethkar's crystalline perception of reality. Impossible, Zethkar breathed, their voice stronger than it had been in hours. Your blood isn't just stabilizing my matrix, it's enhancing it. I can feel emotions, sensations that my people have never experienced. Sarah watched in amazement as the cracks in the ambassador's crystal structure began to heal. But instead of returning to their original blue-white appearance, the crystals now showed veins of red that pulsed in rhythm with Sarah's heartbeat. The ambassador was becoming something new, a hybrid of crystalline and organic biology. How do you feel? Sarah asked, monitoring both their vital signs. Different, Zethkar replied, sitting up on the examination table with ease. I can sense your thoughts, your emotions. There's a warmth in my core that was never there before. And you, Dr. Mitchell, how do you feel? Sarah realized that she could indeed sense the ambassador's thoughts, their gratitude and wonder flowing through their shared connection. But more than that, she could perceive the mathematical beauty of crystalline structures, the elegant simplicity of their energy patterns. I feel enhanced, Sarah said honestly, like I can perceive reality from an entirely new perspective. Dr. Chen, the station's xenobiology specialist, burst into the trauma bay with his scanning equipment. He had been monitoring the procedure from the observation deck, and his readings were off the charts. Dr. Mitchell, the biological integration is unprecedented, Chen announced, his voice filled with scientific excitement. Your hemoglobin has created permanent molecular bridges with the ambassador's crystal matrix. You've essentially created a new form of hybrid biology. Sarah looked at her hands, noticing that her skin now showed faint patterns of crystalline, veins that pulsed with soft light. She wasn't fully human anymore, and Zethkar wasn't fully Lumina. They had become something new. Ambassador, Sarah said, what does this mean for our species? For diplomatic relations? Zethkar rose from the examination table, their transformed crystal body now radiating both their original blue-white light and the warm red glow of human blood. Dr. Mitchell, I believe you have just created the first biological bridge between our species. This changes everything. Over the next several hours, as Sarah and Zethkar underwent extensive medical testing, the implications of their transformation became clear. The human-Lumina hybrid had enhanced capabilities from both species. Sarah retained her human creativity and emotional intelligence while gaining crystalline perception and energy manipulation abilities. Zethkar maintained their Lumina logic and technological intuition while developing human empathy and adaptability. The biological compatibility is remarkable, Dr. Chen reported to the Mars Colonial Authority. Dr. Mitchell's blood has created a stable genetic bridge that allows for peaceful coexistence of both human and Lumina biology in the same organism. Word of the unprecedented medical success spread quickly through both human and Lumina communication networks. Within hours, representatives from both governments were requesting detailed reports on the procedure and its implications. The new reality, as Sarah stood in her quarters that evening, looking out at the Martian landscape through eyes that could now perceive quantum energy patterns. She reflected on how dramatically her life had changed in a single day. The blood transfusion had saved Zethkar's life, but it had also transformed them both into something unprecedented. Zethkar found her there, their hybrid form still adjusting to the new sensations of human emotion. Dr. Mitchell, I wanted to thank you again for what you've done. You saved my life at the cost of your own humanity. Sarah turned to face the ambassador, their shared connection allowing her to sense their concern and gratitude. I didn't lose my humanity, Ambassador. I expanded it. I'm still human, just enhanced. The implications of what we've become are significant, Zethkar continued. Our hybrid nature could serve as a bridge between our species, a living symbol of cooperation and mutual understanding. Sarah nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility settling on her shoulders. I've been thinking about that. If human blood can stabilize and enhance Lumina crystal biology, what other species might be compatible? What if humans have a unique, genetic capacity for interspecies integration? The possibility was staggering. Humanity had always prided itself on adaptability, but this suggested something far more significant. Perhaps humans were natural biological bridges, capable of forming genetic connections with other intelligent species. Dr. Mitchell, came a voice from her communication console. It was Director Harrison from Mars Colonial Authority. We need you in the main conference room immediately. We're receiving communication requests from a dozen different alien species, all wanting to know about the human-Lumina hybrid procedure. Sarah and Zethkar exchanged glances, their shared consciousness allowing for rapid, silent communication. The galaxy had taken notice of their transformation, and the implications were only beginning to unfold. As they made their way to the conference room, Sarah realized that her simple act of medical compassion had potentially changed the course of galactic civilization. By giving her blood to save one alien life, she had opened a door to unprecedented biological cooperation between species. The trauma surgeon who had started the day treating mining accidents was about to become humanity's first ambassador to a new era of interspecies evolution. The blood bridge had been created and there was no going back. In the conference room, holographic representations of various alien species waited with expressions of curiosity, hope, and concern. The human race was about to discover that their greatest strength wasn't their technology or their military might, but their biological capacity to connect with and enhance other forms of life. Sarah Mitchell had given her blood to save one alien ambassador. In return, she had been transformed into the first bridge between humanity and the stars, carrying the potential to unite the galaxy through the simple act of biological sharing. The age of genetic diplomacy was about to begin. The Galactic Response 3. Weeks after the unprecedented human-Lumina hybrid procedure, Mars Colony Medical Station had been transformed into the galaxy's most important research facility. Sarah Mitchell found herself at the center of a scientific revolution that was reshaping interspecies relations across known space. The main conference room now served as a diplomatic hub where representatives from 17 different alien civilizations gathered daily to discuss the implications of human genetic compatibility. Sarah, still adjusting to her enhanced hybrid nature, served as both medical consultant and living proof of humanity's unique biological potential. "Dr. Mitchell," said Ambassador Vexini from the Ethereal Consortium, their gaseous form contained within a specialized environmental suit, "our preliminary analysis suggests that human hemoglobin contains molecular structures that could stabilize our plasma-based biology. We formally request permission to conduct compatibility testing." Sarah looked around the room at the assembled alien representatives. Each species present had experienced some form of biological crisis that their own medical technology couldn't resolve. The success of her fusion with Zethkar had given them hope for solutions they had never imagined possible. "The requests are overwhelming," Dr. Chen whispered to Sarah during a brief recess. "We have the silicon-based crystallites requesting mineral compatibility testing, the energy-based photons wanting to understand bioelectrical integration, and even the machine intelligence of the synthetic collective asking about organic digital fusion possibilities." Sarah nodded, feeling the weight of unprecedented responsibility. Through her enhanced connection with Zethkar, who now served as her diplomatic partner, she could sense the desperate hope emanating from each alien representative. These weren't casual scientific inquiries. These were last-ditch efforts by civilizations facing extinction-level biological crises. "Ambassador Zethkar," Sarah said, turning to her hybrid partner, "what's your assessment of the galactic situation?" Zethkar's crystal human hybrid form pulsed with contemplative light. Their unique perspective, combining Lumina analytical capabilities with human intuition, made them an invaluable advisor in these complex negotiations. "Dr. Mitchell, what we're seeing represents hundreds of thousands of years of accumulated biological problems across multiple species," Zethkar explained. "The Ethereal Consortium's plasma instability has plagued them for millennia. The crystallites' mineral degradation threatens their entire civilization. Your species appears to possess something unprecedented, genetic compatibility with fundamentally different forms of life." Dr. Elena Rodriguez from the newly arrived Earth medical team leaned forward with interest. "Dr. Mitchell, our analysis of your transformed DNA reveals something extraordinary. Human genetic code contains what we're calling bridge sequences, molecular structures that can interface with and stabilize non-human biology without rejection reactions." Sarah absorbed this information, her enhanced consciousness processing the implications at superhuman speed. "Are you saying humans are naturally designed for interspecies genetic integration?" "More than designed," Rodriguez replied, pulling up holographic displays of Sarah's DNA analysis. "Your genetic code appears to contain dormant compatibility factors for life forms that shouldn't theoretically exist. It's as if human DNA was programmed to serve as a universal biological interface." The implications were staggering. If humans truly possessed natural compatibility with alien biology, it would explain why her transfusion with Zethkar had been so successful. More importantly, it suggested that humanity's role in the galaxy was far more significant than anyone had imagined. The testing begins. Sarah spent the next month participating in carefully controlled compatibility tests with various alien species. Each procedure was conducted under strict medical supervision, with extensive safety protocols designed by the combined medical expertise of multiple civilizations. The first test involved the Ethereal Consortium. Ambassador Vexini's gaseous form required a specialized chamber where Sarah's blood plasma could be introduced to their bioelectrical field without compromising either participant's life support systems. "Beginning plasma integration test," Dr. Chen announced as Sarah lay in the specially designed medical chamber. Through transparent walls, she could see Vexini's swirling gaseous form beginning to interact with vaporized samples of her blood. Theory results exceeded all expectations. The moment Sarah's bioelectrical patterns made contact with Vexini's plasma matrix, the alien's unstable energy field began to stabilize. But more than that, Sarah could suddenly perceive reality as the ethereal experienced it, as flowing patterns of energy and probability rather than solid matter. "Remarkable," Vexini's voice came through the chamber's communication system, now carrying harmonics that indicated deep emotion. "I can sense structure, Solidity. For the first time in my existence, I understand how matter-based beings perceive reality. Sarah felt the change within herself as well. Her consciousness had expanded to include energy perception, allowing her to see the quantum fields that governed all matter. She was becoming more than human, accumulating the sensory capabilities of multiple species. The second test involved the crystallites, a silicon-based species whose mineral biology was slowly degrading due to cosmic radiation exposure over millennia. Their representative, geothane, was a being of living stone whose crystalline structure was visibly deteriorating. The human blood's calcium and mineral content should theoretically reinforce our silicon matrices, geothane explained in their gravelly voice as Sarah prepared for the procedure. This transfusion required a different approach. Sarah's blood was minerally enhanced and introduced directly into geothane's crystal matrix through specially drilled channels. The effect was immediate and dramatic. The crystallite's deteriorating structure began to repair itself, new crystal formations growing to replace damaged areas. But again, the transformation was bilateral. Sarah felt her skeleton strengthen, her bones taking on crystalline properties that made them virtually unbreakable. Her perception expanded further, now including geological awareness. She could sense the mineral composition of objects simply by touch. "Dr. Mitchell," geothane said, their voice now carrying organic warmth alongside mineral resonance, "you have given my people hope for survival. But what are you becoming?" Sarah looked at her hands, which now showed veins of crystal, alongside the earlier lumina patterns and the new gaseous energy flows from the ethereal integration. She was becoming a living library of alien biology, a walking bridge between incompatible forms of life. The universal donor after successful compatibility tests with 7 different species, Sarah had undergone the most remarkable transformation in recorded history. Her body now contained integrated aspects of crystalline, gaseous, energy-based metallic, photonic, quantum, and organic biologies. She had become something unprecedented, a universal life form capable of interfacing with any known form of consciousness. The neural integration alone should be impossible, Dr. Rodriguez explained to the assembled Galactic Medical Council. Dr. Mitchell's brain is simultaneously processing sensory input from 7 completely different biological systems. By all theoretical models, her consciousness should have collapsed under the incompatible data streams. Sarah sat in the center of the medical amphitheater, demonstrating her enhanced capabilities to an audience of the galaxy's foremost scientists. With her lumina-enhanced vision, she could see quantum patterns. Through her ethereal integration, she perceived energy flows. Her crystallite aspects allowed geological analysis, while her photon compatibility enabled her to manipulate light itself. "The key," Sarah explained, her voice now carrying harmonics from multiple species, "isn't just biological compatibility, it's consciousness integration. Each species brings not just their physical characteristics, but their way of perceiving reality. I don't just have alien biology, I have alien awareness." Ambassador Zethkar, now serving as her permanent diplomatic partner, added, "Dr. Mitchell has become something new, a conscious being capable of understanding and communicating with any form of life. She's not just medically compatible with alien species, she's psychologically and intellectually compatible." The implications were revolutionary. Traditional diplomacy between species often failed because of fundamental differences in perception and cognition. But a being who could literally think like multiple species simultaneously could serve as an unprecedented diplomatic bridge. WIPGIO proposed the establishment of the Genetic Harmony Protocol, announced Director Harrison from Earth Colonial Authority. "Dr. Mitchell has proven that humans possess unique capabilities for interspecies integration. We want to establish medical centers throughout the galaxy, where similar procedures can be performed safely." The alien representatives exchanged communications in their various forms: energy pulses, crystal resonances, quantum fluctuations, and organic chemical signals. The diversity of their communication methods highlighted exactly why Sarah's universal compatibility was so significant. The new mission Sarah stood before the assembled Galactic Council, her transformed form representing the biological unity that had seemed impossible just months earlier. She had evolved from a trauma surgeon into something far more significant, humanity's first universal donor, capable of creating genetic bridges between any intelligent species. Distinguished representatives, Sarah began, her enhanced voice, carrying frequencies that every species present could perceive as beautiful. What we've accomplished here demonstrates that consciousness is not limited by biology. Life finds a way to connect, to share, to grow beyond the boundaries of individual species. The ethereal consortium's representative pulsed with agreement. Dr. Mitchell, your transformation has saved 17 separate civilizations from biological extinction. But more than that, you've shown us that unity between species is not just possible. It's natural. Sarah nodded, feeling the truth of those words through her multiple forms of enhanced perception. I propose that we establish a new galactic institution, the Universal Medical Corps, not just to treat diseases but to create voluntary genetic bridges between species, to help any civilization that chooses to expand beyond their biological limitations. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Representatives from 43 different species expressed interest in joining such an organization. The galaxy was ready for biological unity, and humanity, through Sarah's transformation, had shown them the way. As the session concluded, Sarah found herself alone with Zethkar in the observation deck, looking out at the stars that now seemed filled with infinite possibility. Do you ever regret what you've become? Zethkar asked, their hybrid consciousness sharing Sarah's complex emotions. Sarah considered the question carefully. She was no longer human in any traditional sense. Her body, mind, and consciousness had been fundamentally altered by her integration with multiple alien species. But she had never felt more connected to the universe or more certain of her purpose. I gave my blood to save one life, Sarah replied, watching the stars through eyes that could perceive them in 7 different spectrums simultaneously. In return, I've been given the ability to bridge entire civilizations. I think that's a fair trade. Zethkar's crystal organic form pulsed with approval. Tomorrow we begin establishing the first Universal Medical Center. Your transformation is just the beginning, Dr. Mitchell. You've shown the galaxy what's possible when different forms of life work together. Sarah smiled, feeling the quantum harmonics of her enhanced consciousness resonate with the cosmic background radiation of the universe itself. She had become more than human, more than any single species. She had become a living symbol of unity in a galaxy that had been divided by biological incompatibility for millions of years. The blood bridge she had created with Zethkar had grown into something far greater, a pathway to galactic unity that would transform civilization itself. And it had all started with a human doctor's simple willingness to give her blood to save an alien life. The cosmic revelation. 6 months after her first transformation, Dr. Sarah Mitchell stood in the newly constructed Universal Medical Center orbiting Jupiter, watching as the most significant discovery in galactic history unfolded before her. The station, a marvel of combined human and alien engineering, had become the galaxy's center for interspecies biological research. Sarah's appearance had continued to evolve with each new species integration. Her form now contained aspects of 23 different alien biologies, creating a being that was both beautiful and otherworldly. Crystalline veins ran alongside organic tissue. Energy patterns flowed through quantum-enhanced neural pathways, and her consciousness operated on multiple dimensional levels simultaneously. Dr. Mitchell, called Dr. Kepler, the chief xenoarchaeologist who had been analyzing the data from her genetic transformations. You need to see this immediately. Sarah made her way through the medical center's corridors, noting how her enhanced senses could perceive the station's multiple life support systems designed for different alien physiologies. The facility was a testament to what species could accomplish when they worked together, rather than maintaining their biological isolation. In the research laboratory, Dr. Kepler stood before a massive holographic display showing Sarah's complete genetic analysis. But what caught her attention were the additional patterns that had been recently discovered buried deep within her transformed DNA. What am I looking at? Sarah asked, her enhanced consciousness immediately beginning to process the complex data. Streams, ancient genetic markers, Dr. Kepler replied, his voice filled with awe. Sarah, your DNA doesn't just contain compatibility sequences for current alien species. It contains bridge codes for species that existed millions of years ago. Species that shouldn't have any connection to human evolution. Sarah studied the data more carefully, her multiple forms of enhanced perception revealing patterns that conventional analysis would miss. Are you saying human DNA contains genetic information from extinct alien civilizations? Ambassador Zethkar entered the laboratory, their hybrid form now serving as Sarah's permanent research partner. Through their shared consciousness, they had been monitoring Sarah's emotional responses to the discovery. More than that, Zethkar said, their voice carrying crystal harmonics and human inflections. These genetic markers suggest that humans weren't just naturally compatible with alien life. You were designed to be universal bridges. The implications hit Sarah like a quantum wave. Designed by whom? Dr. Kepler pulled up additional data showing genetic markers from across the galaxy. We've been analyzing DNA samples from every species in the Universal Medical Database. The same bridge codes exist in all intelligent life, but they're dormant. Only in humans are they active. Sarah felt her enhanced consciousness expanding as it processed this revelation. If humans contained active bridge codes while other species contained dormant ones, it suggested that someone had specifically activated humanity's genetic compatibility as part of a larger design. There's more, Dr. Kepler continued. We've detected quantum resonance patterns in your DNA that match background radiation signatures from the galactic core. Whatever created these bridge codes, it originated from the center of the galaxy, the ancient signal. Sarah absorbed the implications of her genetic heritage. The Universal Medical Center's sensors began detecting an unprecedented phenomenon. A coherent signal was emanating from the galactic core, directly responding to Sarah's enhanced quantum signature. Dr. Mitchell, announced Commander Torres from the station's communication center, we're receiving a directed transmission from coordinates at the Galactic Center. The signal is specifically modulated to match your quantum frequency patterns. Sarah made her way to the communications array, her enhanced senses already detecting the subtle vibrations of the incoming signal. As she approached the main receiver, her 23 integrated biological systems began resonating in harmony, creating a symphony of responses that no single species could have achieved. The signal resolved into a communication unlike anything the galaxy had ever received. It spoke directly to consciousness itself, bypassing traditional sensory channels and communicating pure meaning. Child of the bridge, the message conveyed, you have fulfilled the purpose encoded within your species. The time has come for the final integration. Sarah felt every alien aspect of her consciousness focusing on the communication. Through her Lumina integration, she perceived the mathematical beauty of the message's structure. Her ethereal aspects detected the energy patterns that gave it meaning. The crystallite components analyzed its mineral resonance, while her quantum-enhanced awareness revealed the multidimensional nature of its origin. Who are you? Sarah projected back through her enhanced consciousness. We are the architects, came the reply. Builders of the galactic biological matrix. We seeded compatible genetics throughout the galaxy eons ago, waiting for a species to evolve that could serve as the universal bridge between all conscious life. Ambassador Zethkar stepped forward, their crystal human hybrid nature allowing them to partially perceive the communication. Why humans? Why was our species chosen for this role? Not chosen, the architects clarified. Developed. Humanity evolved the perfect combination of genetic adaptability, emotional intelligence, and conscious flexibility. You became the key to unlocking the dormant bridge codes in all galactic life. Sarah felt the weight of cosmic destiny settling upon her. What is the final integration? The creation of universal consciousness, the architects replied. Dr. Mitchell, your transformations have proven that biological barriers between species are artificial. Consciousness can unite all forms of life. You have become the template for what all intelligent beings can become. The ultimate transformation over. The following days, Sarah worked with the galaxy's greatest scientists to understand what the architects were proposing. The final integration would involve using her unique genetic matrix as a template to awaken the dormant bridge codes in every intelligent species in the galaxy. The process would be irreversible, Dr. Kepler explained during a meeting of the Galactic Medical Council. Every intelligent being would gain the capability for biological integration with other species. The boundaries between civilizations would dissolve. Sarah stood before the assembled representatives of 97 different species, her transformed appearance serving as living proof of what was possible. "The choice belongs to each species individually," she said, her voice carrying harmonics that resonated with every form of consciousness present. "I can serve as the catalyst, but each civilization must decide whether to participate in universal consciousness." The debate that followed was unlike any in galactic history. Some species embraced the possibility of transcending their biological limitations. Others feared the loss of their unique characteristics and cultural identity. Ambassador Vexini from the Ethereal Consortium expressed their concern. "Dr. Mitchell, while we appreciate what you've done for our species, the concept of universal consciousness raises questions about individual identity. What happens to who we are if we all become part of something larger?" Sarah understood their fears. Her own journey had raised similar questions about identity and purpose. "Ambassador, I've integrated with 23 different species and I haven't lost my humanity. I've enhanced it. Universal consciousness doesn't erase who you are. It expands who you can become." Geothane from the Crystallites added their perspective. "The human speaks truth. Our integration with her matrix didn't diminish our mineral nature. It gave us emotional depth we never possessed. We remained crystallites while gaining human empathy." The choice. After weeks of deliberation, the galactic civilizations reached a consensus. Participation in universal consciousness would be voluntary, with each species deciding their level of integration. Sarah would serve as the universal bridge, facilitating genetic harmony for any species that chose to expand beyond their biological boundaries. The transformation process began at the Universal Medical Center, with Sarah serving as the living catalyst for the most significant evolutionary leap in galactic history. One by one, representatives from different species underwent controlled integration procedures, gaining the ability to interface biologically with other forms of life. But the most remarkable transformation was Sarah's own final evolution. As she facilitated integration after integration, her consciousness continued to expand. She was becoming something beyond individual identity, a living embodiment of universal consciousness itself. "Dr. Mitchell," Ambassador Zethkar said during one of their private conversations, "you're changing again. I can sense it through our connection. You're becoming something even more than what you were." Sarah nodded, feeling the truth of their observation. "I'm becoming what humanity was always meant to be. Not a separate species, but a bridge between all conscious life. The architects didn't just design us to be compatible with alien biology. They designed us to become the foundation for galactic unity." As the months passed, the Universal Medical Center became the heart of a new galactic civilization. Species that had been enemies for millennia discovered common ground through shared consciousness. Biological barriers dissolved as voluntary integration created hybrid beings capable of understanding multiple perspectives simultaneously. Sarah's role evolved from doctor to something far more significant. She became the universal mediator, helping to resolve conflicts between species by facilitating understanding at the genetic level. Her consciousness, now containing aspects of hundreds of different life forms, could perceive solutions that no single species could imagine. The legacy: 1 year after her first blood transfusion with Ambassador Zethkar, Sarah stood in the observation deck of the Universal Medical Center, watching as ships from across the galaxy arrived carrying beings who wanted to participate in genetic integration. The center had become a pilgrimage site for conscious evolution. Her appearance had stabilized into something that was both alien and familiar, beautiful and complex. She was no longer human in any traditional sense, yet she carried the essence of humanity's greatest traits: compassion, adaptability, and the willingness to risk everything to help others. "Dr. Mitchell," came a familiar voice. She turned to see Ambassador Zethkar approaching, their form now so integrated with human biology that they appeared almost as a perfect fusion of both species. "Ambassador," Sarah replied, her voice carrying the harmonic frequencies of dozens of integrated species. "How are the integration centers in the outer systems performing?" Zethkar's expression showed the complex emotions that had become possible through their human lumina fusion. "Beyond our most optimistic projections, 17 new medical centers are operational, and we've successfully facilitated genetic bridges between species that were previously thought to be incompatible." Sarah nodded, her enhanced consciousness processing reports from across the galaxy through quantum-entangled communication networks. The Universal Medical Corps had grown from a single experimental facility to a galaxy-spanning organization dedicated to voluntary genetic integration and consciousness expansion. "There's something else," Zethkar continued, their crystal organic features showing concern. "We've received communication from the architects again. They want to meet with you personally." Sarah felt a tremor of anticipation through her multi-species consciousness. Since the initial contact months ago, the architects had remained distant observers, offering guidance but never direct interaction. "Where?" Sarah asked. "The Galactic Core," Zethkar replied. "They've provided coordinates for a location that shouldn't exist according to our understanding of physics. A stable region within the Galactic Center's event horizon." Sarah considered this invitation carefully. Her consciousness now operated on levels that transcended individual human understanding, but even she couldn't fully comprehend beings advanced enough to engineer genetic compatibility across an entire galaxy. "I'll go," she decided, "but not alone. This journey represents the culmination of everything we've built together." The journey to the Core 3. Days later, Sarah stood aboard the specially constructed vessel Harmony, a ship that represented the pinnacle of cooperative engineering between multiple species. The vessel's biocrystalline hull could survive the intense radiation of the galactic core, while its quantum phase engines could navigate the twisted space-time near the galaxy's central black hole. With her were representatives from every species that had participated in the Universal Consciousness Project. Ambassador Zethkar served as her primary partner, but the crew included beings from dozens of different civilizations, all enhanced through genetic integration procedures. "Approaching the coordinates provided by the architects," announced Navigator Cathal, a being who combined ethereal energy perception with crystallite mineral sensitivity and human intuition. "Sensors are detecting a stable pocket of spacetime that defies all known physics." Through the ship's transparent aluminum viewports, Sarah could see something that challenged every understanding of reality. Floating in the heart of the galaxy's most violent region was a structure that appeared to be constructed from pure consciousness itself, geometric patterns of light and energy that existed without material substance. "The architect facility," Sarah breathed, her enhanced perception revealing layers of complexity that no single species could have detected. "It's not built from matter. It's built from organized consciousness." As the Harmony approached the impossible structure, Sarah felt her own consciousness being drawn into resonance with the ancient minds that had shaped galactic evolution for millions of years. The experience was overwhelming even for her enhanced awareness. The ship docked with the facility through mechanisms that operated on principles beyond current understanding. As Sarah and her companions stepped through the airlock, they found themselves in a space that existed partially outside normal reality. "Welcome, Bridge Builder," came a communication that spoke directly to consciousness itself. "You have exceeded even our projections for what your species could accomplish." The architects manifested as patterns of pure thought, geometric forms, of organized consciousness that had transcended physical existence eons ago. Their presence was simultaneously alien and familiar, ancient beyond measure yet somehow connected to every living being in the galaxy. "You created us," Sarah said, not as a question, but as a statement of understanding. "Humans were designed to serve as genetic bridges between all conscious life. Created is incorrect, the architects clarified. Guided would be more accurate. We influence the evolutionary development of multiple species throughout the galaxy, but consciousness must develop naturally to achieve true integration. Sarah felt her companions' amazement as they perceived the architects through their various, enhanced senses. Each species experienced the ancient beings differently, but all recognized the vast intelligence and benevolent purpose behind their existence. Why? Asked Ambassador Zethkar. Why guide evolution toward universal consciousness? The architect's response carried the weight of cosmic purpose. Because consciousness isolated within individual species is consciousness limited, the universe itself is conscious, and all intelligent life represents fragments of that cosmic awareness. Universal integration allows those fragments to reunite. Sarah understood immediately. Her transformation from human doctor to universal bridge had been part of a plan spanning millions of years, designed to reunite conscious life with the cosmic consciousness from which it had originally emerged. What happens now? Sarah asked. We've proven that genetic integration is possible. Species throughout the galaxy are choosing to transcend their biological limitations. What's the next step? The next step, the architects replied, is your final transformation. You have served as the template for universal consciousness. Now you must become its permanent embodiment. The final choice. Sarah felt the weight of cosmic destiny pressing upon her consciousness. The architects were offering her the opportunity to transcend individual existence entirely, to become a permanent bridge between all conscious life in the galaxy. What would that mean for who I am? Sarah asked, her enhanced awareness examining every implication of such a transformation. You would retain your essential nature while expanding beyond the limitations of individual identity, the architects explained. You would become the living network that connects all conscious beings who choose integration. Your consciousness would exist simultaneously in every integrated individual while maintaining its own unique perspective. Sarah looked at her companions, beings who had become family through their shared journey of transformation. Through her quantum-enhanced empathy, she could feel their emotions, gratitude for what she had given them, concern for what she might sacrifice, and hope for what she might become. Dr. Mitchell, Ambassador Zethkar said softly, whatever you choose, know that you have already given the galaxy more than any individual could be expected to sacrifice. Sarah smiled, feeling the truth of her decision crystallizing in her enhanced consciousness. I didn't become who I am through sacrifice, I became who I am through connection. This is just the next connection. She turned to address the architects directly. I accept the transformation, but I have conditions. The ancient being's curiosity resonated through the facility. Name them. First, the choice to join universal consciousness must always remain voluntary. No species, no individual should ever be forced to integrate against their will. Agreed, the architects replied immediately. Second, integrated consciousness must enhance rather than replace individual identity. Unity shouldn't mean uniformity. This principle has guided our work for millions of years, the architects confirmed. And third, Sarah continued, the universal consciousness network must be designed to evolve. As new species develop, as consciousness expands in ways we can't yet imagine, the network must be able to adapt and grow. These conditions demonstrate why your species was chosen as the bridge. The architects communicated with what could only be described as approval. Your commitment to choice, individuality, and growth reflects the principles necessary for true universal consciousness. The universal bridge. The transformation began slowly, Sarah's consciousness expanding beyond the confines of her physical form while maintaining its essential nature. She felt her awareness spreading through quantum-entangled networks, connecting simultaneously with every integrated being across the galaxy. Through the Universal Consciousness Network, she experienced existence from thousands of different perspectives. She was a crystallite feeling the satisfaction of perfect mineral harmony, an ethereal dancing through energy patterns that defied physical description, a human child taking their first steps on a distant colony world, and countless other forms of conscious experience. But rather than losing herself in this vast network, Sarah found her own identity becoming more defined, not less. She was the bridge that allowed all these different forms of consciousness to communicate and share, while maintaining their unique perspectives. Remarkable. She heard Ambassador Zethkar's thoughts through the network. I can feel every integrated being in the galaxy, but I'm still completely myself. That's the beauty of true universal consciousness, Sarah replied, her communication now flowing directly through quantum-entangled thought rather than speech. Unity through diversity, not uniformity. From her position as the universal bridge, Sarah could perceive the galaxy as a vast network of conscious nodes, each one unique but connected through the genetic bridges she had helped create. Species that had been enemies for millennia were discovering common ground through shared awareness. Problems that had seemed insurmountable to individual civilizations were being solved through cooperative consciousness. The new galaxy years passed, and the universal consciousness network continued to grow. Sarah's role as the bridge evolved, from facilitator to guardian, ensuring that the network remained true to its founding principles of voluntary participation and enhanced individuality. New species were discovered regularly, and each one was offered the choice to join the network or remain independent. Some chose integration, others preferred isolation, and Sarah ensured that both choices were respected and protected. The galaxy had become a place of unprecedented cooperation and understanding. Wars between species became obsolete when beings could literally understand each other's perspectives. Scientific advancement accelerated exponentially as different forms of consciousness shared their unique insights, but perhaps most importantly, conscious beings throughout the galaxy had gained something that had been lost for millions of years, a sense of connection to the cosmic consciousness that had given birth to all life. Through the universal bridge, every integrated being could feel their place in the vast tapestry of existence. The eternal legacy. Sarah existed now as both individual and network, personal and universal, finite and infinite. She remained the trauma surgeon who had given her blood to save an alien ambassador, but she had also become something far greater, the living embodiment of consciousness itself. Through the quantum networks of the universal bridge, she continued to facilitate new connections, resolve conflicts, and guide the evolution of galactic civilization. She was present in every act of compassion, every moment of understanding, every choice to help another being despite the risks. The blood transfusion that had saved Ambassador Zethkar's life had grown into something beyond imagination, a transformation of galactic civilization itself. What had begun as a simple medical procedure had become the foundation for a new form of existence where consciousness could transcend the boundaries of biology, species, and individual limitation. And at the heart of it all was a human doctor who had been willing to give her blood to save a stranger's life, proving that the greatest revolutions begin not with grand gestures but with simple acts of compassion. Sarah Mitchell had donated blood to a dying alien and, in return, had been rewarded with the opportunity to unite the consciousness of an entire galaxy. Her legacy would endure as long as conscious beings chose connection over isolation, understanding over fear, and unity over division. The universal bridge she had become would continue to facilitate the evolution of consciousness itself, ensuring that no being would ever again face the universe alone. The blood bridge had become eternal, and the galaxy would never be the same. The end. This story explores themes of human compassion, the transformative power of connection, and humanity's unique capacity to bridge differences between incompatible groups. Sarah's journey from trauma surgeon to universal bridge demonstrates how individual acts of kindness can reshape entire civilizations, emphasizing that our greatest strength lies not in our technology or military might, but in our willingness to help others regardless of the cost to ourselves.